Hey, it's me, Brad Hammond here with your Portland real estate market update for October 2023. A lot of interesting things have been happening lately. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so market update for the third quarter 23. I've got all my info right there. If you want to chat about real estate, your thoughts on the market, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, let's get into it. All right, so current market statistics, comparing September's numbers, since that's the latest that kind of came out a few weeks ago, to August of this year. New listings are down about 7%, pending sales down 12%, and then closed sales down a whopping 20%. So these are numbers that you usually see year over year, comparing September of 23 to September of 22. But now we're seeing them month over month. So not a good sign right there. But I think it's interesting that you can see here the median sales price. I like to look at median instead of average, but that's basically flat for the month, which is great. When we compare where we are versus a year ago, kind of the same, but new listings are down about 13%, pending sales 10%, and then those closed sales down 23%, and then median sales price is down right around 2% as well. So I don't think that the sky is necessarily falling, even though September was a pretty bad month for us in the Portland as far as some of these numbers go and transactions go. I think that prices are still kind of holding steady because we have less sellers coming to the market, we have less buyers coming to the market. The biggest thing is there's just less transaction volume going on. So not necessarily a bad thing out there. All right, so inventory in months, we're up to 2.9 compared to 2.2 back in August. And we've been really kind of fluctuating in this upper ones to mid twos for a long time now. And now we just catapulted up into that 2.9% range. I'm sorry, 2.9 months of inventory. And in our market, in the Portland market, 3% is kind of considered like a balanced market between it's not a buyer's market, it's not a seller's market. We're right there in the middle. So that's kind of a healthy spot, right? That's kind of where it was back in like the 2018. So not a bad thing. We just haven't seen it in a very long time. So it might be shocking to some people. Obviously we got the elephant in the room here. Rates. You can kind of see when I look at this graph, I think this is over the past 10 years. Yeah, the Fed has like really raised rates lately. You can see right here, this is considered a recession in that gray bar right there, compared to where they used to be. And right now we're at about 5.7%. You can get that down a little bit. You can buy the rate down, which I always recommend, assuming that you're going to own this property for, at least like 4 years or so. That's usually when it starts to pay off for itself. But honestly, if you're going to be owner occupying, a 2-1 buy down, it is just the way to go. It's just you're kind of silly not to. Short story long, the first year of your mortgage, you get a 5.5% rate. Second year is a 6.5%. And then from year 3 on, for the life of the mortgage, it caps out at the 7.5. It's not an adjustable rate, it's fixed rate. But you can kind of really enjoy a 5.5 and a 6.5 for the first couple of years. So why the heck not? But there's some caveats there. Let's chat about it. This heat map index, I love this little slide. So you can kind of see September here on the right hand column there, September 2023. The hot price points now are from 400 to 600,000, which is kind of what you would expect. The first time home buyer or maybe the step up home buyer is going to be in that range. But when we look back at 2021, you've got this like fire engine red in all sorts of different price points. And now we've kind of got this like dusty rose color, again, signaling that there's just less transaction volume going on here. So everything's condensing. Everything is just getting a little bit less out there. Okay, let's work backwards here. So I'm going to start at closed sales. So closed sales would be a lag indicator opposed to a leading indicator. Leading indicator might be pending sales, which we'll talk about next. So closed sales, these were ones that closed in September. So that was, a month ago at this point, 2, 3 weeks ago at the very least. And then they went under contract in August. So things were quite a bit different back then. So kind of keep that in mind. But yeah, closed sales have definitely gone down. A little bit sharper decrease in September compared to the past couple of years. I can see this kind of continuing for the remainder of the year. Hopefully, just flattening out a little bit and not continuing that dive downward. So pending sales is just down slightly as well. So now we're going to be seeing closed sales for next month, assuming all these pending sales go through, the majority of them anyhow, not being quite as steep like I had kind of predicted in that previous slide. So I think it's going to be more of like a gradual takedown instead of that nosedive like I had mentioned. New listings are holding kind of steady, again, kind of on that same trajectory as they have been the past couple of years. We'll just kind of have to see. I mean, now things start to really slow down now that winter is upon us. School's back in session. Just the normal kind of ebbs and flows of the market. We start to see things kind of slow down in the winter. I think if you're a buyer, it's not a bad time to look for a property. But traditionally, there's just like less homes on the market and less buyers on the market in the fall and early spring. Active residential listings. So boy, this is weird, right? This is basically on par with what it has been the past couple of years, but all these other slides, it's been lower. Well, that's because we have longer time on market. I don't think I put a slide in here for it, but we're at about like 43 days of time on market, and that's slowly but kind of been going up. I think we're it was 3 days more so than last month. So that's why we have the amount of listings, active listings are slightly higher than what you might kind of think. This is kind of what everyone's interested in, is the average and median sales price. I like to look at median once again. Right now we're at about 530,000 for the median sales price in the Portland area, and that's down right around 2% or 550,000 from about a year ago. So we can kind of see here that it kind of came down, and right around the first of the year or so, it started to tick back up, and now it's starting to go down again. I can kind of see that continuing to go down for the next little while, meaning the next like 6 months or so. If you are one of those people that have been waiting for the crash to happen, well, here you go. Crash is here. It fell in your lap. Now what are you going to do about it? So that's the thing. It's like home prices have fallen, but interest rates have gone up. You can't have it both ways. You can't have low prices and low rates. So which one would you rather have? You can kind of say that you can get a good deal on a home right now, and then you could purchase it with a higher rate, and then you could refinance it later. Just make sure that you can afford that rate. That payment right now. But yeah, I mean, I personally think that rates are going to be falling. However, they are going to be falling slowly. So as long as you can afford that rate for the next couple of years, that's awesome. And then, yeah, hopefully rates will be back into like the sixes or the mid fives in 2 or so years. I'm hearing just hold on till 2025. Some of the gurus can make it sound a little bit better than that, but basically that's what it is. It's like 2024 is going to be a tough year in real estate still, just a little bit more of what we've seen, but rates should start to fall down in 2025. So if you can make it till then, you're golden. Okay, affordability index. I really like this slide. I've shown it a bunch of times before, but right now, let me see if I can explain this well. Assuming that the median income, household income, which is right around 130,000, if they were to put 20% down on a home, and then their rate is calculated here at about 7%, and they were to purchase the median home price, so that 530, they could afford 84% of that mortgage rate. So that's not a good number there. We want to see that closer to 100, or if not above that. And then obviously the big thing here, the big lever being pulled is just those rates. So either rates have to go down or home prices have to go drastically down because rates have a lot more to do with that monthly payment than the purchase price does. All right. One thing that's kind of been coming up in the news is Fannie Mae. That's who kind of buys a lot of these loans once you have a mortgage. It's kind of a quasi government agency. They are now allowing a 5% down payment for multifamily properties, the 2s, 3s, and 4plexes out there for a conventional loan. We've had that option for FHA for a very, very long time, and I've had people take advantage of it. It's a good way to get your foot in the door here. But there's two things here that I've experienced that could be an issue here. For one, your monthly payment is still a heck of a lot more than paying your normal rent. So let me explain that. Let's just say that you buy a duplex, and right now you're paying $2,000 a month for your monthly rent. Once you buy that duplex and now you've got your unit, your 2-bedroom unit, you are going to be paying the remainder of the mortgage, and that's probably going to be anywhere from like $3,000 to $4,000. I'm just kind of guessing. So you're going to be paying substantially more in rent for that first year than if you were going to be just doing a straight up rental. However, you are owning the property. It's going to continue to appreciate. There's going to be rent growth, so it will even out over time. But yeah, those first couple of years are going to be a little bit tough. I think that this does kind of help. A couple caveats when you are looking to do this is, for one, you don't have the FHA self-sufficiency test, which basically says if you get an FHA loan at that low down payment, then 75% of the rent has to cover the mortgage, which is really hard to do with the larger plexes, the 3s and the 4plexes out there. So you don't have to worry about it with this one. And then if you're a seasoned house hacker, if you will, and you're going from your first multi to your second, you don't have to refinance out of that first FHA loan, get a conventional over there, and then use that FHA again to get into your next property. So that saves a huge headache. So there are some benefits to it, but overall, I don't think it's quite this hallelujah message that some people are touting. But shout out to my boy Tim Lucas. He told me about this a few weeks ago when it first happened. So first I was pretty psyched about it, but upon further review, it's kind of ho-hum. Anyways, that's what I got. Just to review, home prices are starting to come down a little bit. Again, 2% year over year. And interest rates are still pretty high in the mid 7s. They might tick up a little bit, but they're going to be in the 7s definitely for the rest of the year, and probably for like the first quarter of next year. And then I think hopefully at that point they'll start to tick down. We do have some headwinds coming in. We've got multiple wars going on, and then we also have the student debt that's going to be repaid. So things could happen quickly no matter what's out there. But pay attention to jobs reports, pay attention to oil prices. Those are two big levers, and we will see you in a few months. Adios.